station of decapitation without your head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I'm Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by Glenn R. Miller, the director of Aquarium of the Dead.
Hello, guys. How's it going?
Good to have you here.
Good to be here. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Aquarium of the Dead, it's available everywhere, as I found out.
Everywhere. It's on Amazon. It's on YouTube. It's on iTunes. It's on Video Demand. It's on Tubi. It's on Vudu. It's everywhere.
Now, as a a film watcher, I do like Tubi a lot because they have a lot of unusual stuff on there, some weird stuff, and it's free, and it's I dig.
Yeah,
Tubi.
I recently found out that they have Bewitched, and I was like,
Oh, nice.
Oh, I love me some Elizabeth Montgomery, man. Oh my God.
Yeah, and from my understand, they're pretty good for independent filmmakers as far as giving them a decent amount of money from people watching their stuff.
Yeah, there's quite a few Asylum movies on Tubi as well, apparently. Like almost the entire library, I think, well, pretty close to it is on there. It's kind of interesting. I was just talking to David Latt the other day, and yeah, they're doing really good with Tubi.
Cool. And my mom has a silly joke. She calls it Tubi or not Tubi.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Nice. I like that.
So I guess explain to people what Aquarium of the Dead is, if they're not familiar yet.
So Aquarium of the Dead is your basic theme park gone awry with zombie fish, sea life, and whatnot, walruses, octopus, starfish, crabs, you name it, it's got it. There's a dolphin, we got sharks, we got it all. This is the official spinoff to the Zombies movies. So you go Zombies and then Aquarium, and it all kind of just goes in there. It's part of the same universe.
Mm-hmm. The Zombie.
That was kind of fun. It's the Zombieverse.
Yeah. What interested you to begin with to make zombie movies with animals?
It was interesting because so usually when you work at the asylum and stuff, and if you're there all the time, if you have like a residency, if you will, you get to see what's coming down the pike. You get to see the calendar, the list of movies that they plan coming up. And Zombies, the first one, had been on the slate for at least a year. And I, emailed and I said, I want to do this movie. Because they said it was just going to be, it's like Jurassic Park, but with zombie animals, zombie zoo animals. So I thought that was a cool concept, and I was like, great, awesome, love it. We made the movie in the summer of 2015. I think it came out in April of 2016. And it did really, really well. It did amazing. It's all over the world. It's in multiple languages. It's in Japanese, Italian, and French. It's in Hindi. It's everywhere. People love it. And it did so well. We did a sequel back in 2019, Zombies 2, which was the prequel to Zombies 1. So the Zombies universe kind of goes all over the place. It's kind of like the Marvel universe, but you just don't know where it's going to go. So Zombies 2 was the prequel to Zombies 1. That did really, really well. That's, again, all over the world. You can get it on Blu-ray in various languages. We were talking about where to go next. We were talking about Zombies 3, which is still in the works. But we wanted to try something new. And since we, over at the Asylum, the guys already have like this gigantic library of sea animals, CGI sea animals from the Sharknado movies and other various mega sharks and megalodon movies. They wanted to try out a spinoff to Zombies called Aquarium of the Dead. And that had been in development for about a year. It was a very, very much different idea at first. It was the aquarium was going to be open to the public originally, and have large crowds or whatever, but then the pandemic hit. So COVID hit, and we were forced to do a few rewrites and scale the movie way down, and just make it about a small group of people trying to run around and survive the zombie sea life attack. Sea animals. I don't know how to say it.
Yeah. When you mention for people who don't know what this means exactly, you said they have like a library of CG sea creatures, and I know from previous interviews that sometimes people will find a cool monster that wasn't used in something, and they'll make a movie around it. So I guess just explain what you mean by that and how that works.
So the Asylum has been making movies for like 20 plus years, and every movie is done by the same visual effects department. They have an in-house visual effects department run by Glenn Campbell over there. And they are the magicians behind the scenes. They're the guys that don't get the credit. They're the ones that always get bashed on because the CG looks so bad or whatever. I'll tell you this, from my experience at the Asylum and working with them and how fast everything goes, those guys in the visual effects department pull miracles. They create magic out of nothing. There's only like 3 people in one tiny little room that create all the visual effects for every movie, and they have to pump out a new movie every month. And sometimes they're only given like maybe 2 or 3 weeks to do about 100 visual effects per movie. So that's when you really break that down and you really think about the grand scheme of filmmaking and movies and what it takes to put your dinosaur movie out there and on the big screen, or a space movie, all these gigantic blockbusters that come out every year. They have hundreds of people working in the visual effects department. This company has 3. So what they do is just amazing. So what they do is sometimes they'll just reuse animals. I know in Zombies 1, we were going to reuse the tiger, I think, from a previous zombie movie that they had made that had a tore up tiger that was all mangled and tore up and stuff. And we were going to use that, but it was so lost inside the archives of the hard drives or whatever stuff that we couldn't find it. So we ended up creating another tiger for that kill in that scene.
So for Aquarium of the Dead, I assume they just had, nautical or sea life. Do they do anything to them to make them zombified?
We changed the eyes white. That's it. In the original concept for zombies, the eyes were going to turn red with rage. And then late in post, we decided that we were going to turn the eyes white, like a milky white. So we've been kind of going with that ever since Zombies 1. It's just this milky white look to their eyes, and that's pretty much it. If we had more time and a bigger budget, we would totally mangle them up, scratch them up, put blood on their, on their claws, and tear up their faces and stuff like you see on the box cover. Most of the animals on the box cover are all tore up. If you've seen the Japanese covers, holy crap! The Japanese covers for the Zombies movies are just insane. They are just amazing. And yeah, all the animals, the meerkats and the rhinos and the giraffes and stuff, are all tore up and mangled, and they're gnarly looking and stuff. If we had more time, we would totally do that. But we don't. We make movies in 6 days.
Right. How much say do you have in the poster art, in the cover art?
The poster art is completely out of my hands. That is a marketing thing. We kind of have a theme for the Zombies movies, and that's just one single animal on the cover looking straight at the audience, zombified, obviously. Yeah. I will say that the overseas artwork is always really, really cool. I've already seen the artwork for the UK version of Aquarium of the Dead, and it's amazing. I want to say all of the artwork's amazing. Even when right when you first get it, you get that email and say, "Hey, here's the artwork for your movie," and you look at it and go, "Oh my god, that's awesome!" It's pretty cool. But yeah, most of that is all marketing. The heads over there at the Asylum, they sit in a room for hours and talk about what do we want to call it, what do we want the poster art to look like and stuff. So they really get into this think tank and really hash it out.
Do you get a physical copy of all the different poster arts to collect?
I usually I hit up development, and I hit up the powers that be over there and stuff. And I say, please send me the artwork
Yeah.
so I can create swag, T-shirts, whatever, posters, whatever I want to do. It's mostly for like the premieres.
Yeah.
I like to hand out some things at the premieres, either posters or some T-shirts or hoodies. We made hoodies for the first movie. We did T-shirts for the second movie. This one didn't get any. This one happened so fast that we didn't have time for anything. They don't do DVDs anymore, which was kind of a big bummer when I found that out, because I asked, I said, hey, can you send me over the box art so I could take the credit block, and put it on the front and create a poster? And they said, well, we don't do DVDs anymore, so there is no cover.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, okay, well, that's unfortunate, but it is what it is. But the UK over there, France and Italy and stuff, they will be releasing Blu-rays, so that'll be cool.
That's interesting, because a lot of times if I have a veteran actor or filmmaker on, I'll ask about, the changes, from sometimes before there was even VHS, or, like midnight movies to VHS to DVD to streaming. But even in a short period of time, it's, DVDs were the big thing, and, physical media is really going away. And what's that like to keep up with, the changes?
Right. Yeah, I made the big leap recently. I mean, I used to have, the giant stacks of DVDs and Blu-rays all over, taking up the walls, from floor to ceiling. And I recently just packed them up, put them in some tubs, but I actually made digital versions of them before I did that. It's kind of an interesting thing. I know that I know for sure it's going to come back. I mean, Laserdiscs, there's a small underground of people out there that collect Laserdiscs. People still collect vinyls. People still love cassettes and stuff, and those things are worth a lot of money. It's going to happen again years later, 20 years or so from now. People will want to go back and collect DVDs and Blu-rays or whatever stuff. I do find it a little convenient that you don't even have to leave the couch to change a movie. Just click of a button and you're on to the next one. It's crazy.
It's weird, because on the show I'll be like, oh, a lot of times like, oh, you should buy this stuff. But I'm myself am guilty of it all the time. Even if I know I own the movie, it's like, well, it's easy. Instead of go and find it, I can literally, it's probably streaming somewhere. I'll just watch it. It's so much easier than finding my own copy that I know I own somewhere.
That's so true. I do the same thing. I used to love getting DVDs and Blu-rays just for the special features.
I agree. Especially the commentary tracks, which are kind of a thing of the past.
I was just about to say, I love audio commentaries. I love listening. Recently, I was on a show in Oklahoma, and my second AD and we were watching Tropic Thunder, which has the most amazing audio commentary with Robert Downey Jr. and Ben Stiller and Jack Black. And that is probably one of the best audio commentaries I've ever heard.
Yeah, it seems like, because I was still renting the actual physical DVDs for a long time after people stopped off Netflix because of that. But then eventually they stopped. They would put out the rental versions, which had no special effects. And so then, special features. And then eventually even stuff you buy, it's very rare, except for some of the ones that will put out special editions, like Vinegar Syndrome and stuff like that will put out, older movies with a bunch of stuff. But most of the stuff.
Oh, yeah. I recently just got King Kong 76 from Shout, and I got the Explorers from Shout, and just a bundle of special features. It's awesome.
Yeah. I remember even Herschel Gordon Lewis, who I'm a big fan of. Not necessarily all his movies are great, but sometimes I would buy his stuff, even if it was like some movie I didn't even want to watch, like some biker movie or something, because I like to listen to the commentary tracks.
Nice. Yeah. Commentary tracks are awesome, dude. I swear by them. If I've seen the movie 100 times, I will totally turn on the Goonies visual commentary with all the cast sitting there behind the table and stuff, and just listen to them talk about what it was like to make the movie. Yeah, commentaries are awesome. Yeah. Deleted scenes are amazing too.
Yeah, I agree.
There's like 50 minutes of deleted scenes for the Breakfast Club movie that nobody's ever seen before, and Criterion just released that Blu-ray, I think last year or the year before. And there's almost a whole hour, a whole nother movie that we've never seen before. It's awesome.
I actually even know that, and I love that movie. It's a movie. There's movies, like if you turn around and happens to be on, even if it's like halfway through, you'll just keep watching it, and that's one of those movies.
Mm-hmm. I love TV versions. Last night, I stayed up and watched Superman 2, the international cut. It's 2.5 hours long. and you don't even know it's 2.5 hours long. It feels just like the regular movie, but there's like little shots added here and there, little nuances, alternate takes of things and stuff. And it's actually really, really cool to watch.
Interesting. So, I think a lot of times people ask what it's like to act in a movie with a lot of CG, but what are the difficulties, directing a movie that has a lot of digital effects?
There's that moment on set where you tell the actors what they're supposed to look at, and everybody has that moment of, oh my God, really? Okay, sure. I'm looking at a spider crab. Gotcha. All right, fine. And where am I looking again? Where is it going to be? It's going to be right there. Okay. And then there's another one over here. Okay. All right. Just give me some room for a second. Let me work this out. I usually try to provide the actors with physical props. The day that we did the spider crab scene, I left the props in the car. And I didn't have time to go to the car and get this stuff because, like I said, we made this movie in 6 days. I barely had time to eat. I didn't even have time to direct. I literally told the actor, I said, stand there and say your line, stand there and say your line. I know sometimes it's terrible. That's terrible to say, but it kind of was that sometimes because you're at such a crunch. You got to go, you got to go, you got to go. You got to go so fast, especially in 6 days. But yeah, working with CG animals and just kind of creating things out of thin air, it's about using your imagination, pretending what is there that's not. Mm-hmm. And it's actually kind of fun because the actors get to kind of be like kids again. They get to go back and kind of just imagine and kind of just draw from their childhood, a little bit and stuff, and become kids again on set and just play and just have fun with it. And just imagine that there's a walrus charging after you, or imagine that there's an octopus hanging from the ceiling. It's fun. It's cool. It can be challenging, but you've seen the movies, so you can tell for yourself that we have a lot of fun on the Zombie sets.
Yeah. When you said props, do you mean they're kind of like mock-ups of what the things would look like?
So I usually I just conveniently have one right here. I try to have physical things on set. This is our gator that we had in the movie. I like to have things because, again, with such a small budget, you don't know what's going to get cut. You don't know what you get to keep in the movie. Now, if you have a physical thing like this, that's something you're going to be able to keep in the movie. Mm-hmm. If it's a visual effect, it might just go away because you ran out of money in post, or it might change. The senator, originally in Aquarium of the Dead, the senator was supposed to get killed by a walrus. I think the walrus was supposed to burst through the wall, knock him down, and then drag him out of frame. Well, in post, we decided that we wanted to do an octopus. So the octopus kills the senator. That's kind of one of those fun things that you get to do in post. You get to kind of just change things on the fly. But the shot totally changed. The whole wall was supposed to burst open and stuff, and he was supposed to fall down, but instead, it was like the octopus had been in the room already and stuff and just attacked him from behind. So, it's interesting how post goes on these movies sometimes.
How did you become an Asylum guy? How did you get involved with them?
I got a call back in 2009. I was just wrapping up a show, and I got a call from a guy and said, "Hey, we heard that you AD." Long story short, let me start over. Long story short, I'm an assistant director by trade. My day job is I'm an AD on set. I walk around, I tell everybody what to do, where to go, and I get the director's information and I relay it to the cast and crew. That's my day job. About 5 or 6 years into that, I said, I would love to start directing for you guys. It's been years, and I've been, kind of carrying a lot of other directors along and stuff and helping directors and stuff. I would really like to take a crack at it. So they said, well, let's give you one of our tests. And back then, the test at the Asylum was, if you could do a found footage movie, then you could direct a narrative. So I got to direct this tiny little movie in 4 days called The Bell Witch Haunting. and it was a found footage movie about this family that gets tormented by the Bell Witch. And it's all caught on camera. The kid in the house is very tech savvy. He has cameras all over the place, and they have surveillance cameras at the house and stuff, and they see the witch in the backyard, and they follow her back to the cave and stuff, and everybody dies eventually. But that was the first thing that I got to do, and I did that in 4 days. That was tough. So I went back to them after that movie wrapped, and I said, please give me something with some substance. Give me something that has a script. Because with those type of movies, with found footage movies, there are no scripts. It is all just improv, and every actor wants to get a line in. And some of those scenes will just run on for like 12, 13, 15, 20 minutes. So I asked him, I said, please give me a narrative. Give me something with a script. So I got to do The Coed and the Zombie Stoner next. That was awesome. The Coed and the Zombie Stoner, we did that in 2014. We had so much fun. We actually shot that in December of 2013, and it was one of the coldest winters ever. It was so cold, and we had girls running around in underwear, guys with shirts off and boxers and stuff. That was just a crazy movie. So much fun to make. If I could, I would go back and do that movie all over again. It was so much fun making that movie.
I'll have to check that out. I've not seen it. And I noticed on your IMDb that you were uncredited as a director for the Bell Witch. Was that just like kind of the setup of the movie, that it's found footage, so that it didn't have a director?
Yes. Yeah. Every found footage movie, there's I think what the idea with that is that they wanted to say that I was the person that found the footage, that Glenn Miller found the footage and put together this documentary of the happenings of the house or whatever. And whatever. It's a found footage movie made in 4 days.
Right. Are you a fan of found footage movies?
I like VHS. VHS is a very, very cool series of movies. I did like the Paranormal Activity movies. I actually had to watch all of those movies as research before I worked on Bell Witch. Usually when I get asked to do a movie to direct, I will immerse myself in that world. If it's a Christmas movie, I'll watch a bunch of Christmas movies. If it's a zombie movie, then I'll dig deep into that. Like when I did The Coed and the Zombie Stoner, I watched Warm Bodies, which is essentially kind of the same movie-ish, kind of, but Warm Bodies takes place in the apocalypse, takes place in, ours took place in normal modern day, whatever, and we saved the world. So I usually just try to immerse myself in those worlds and those genres whenever I direct.
Before you were actually directing, what kind of movies were you into? What were like the movies that like made you want to, this is something I would like to do, make movies?
I grew up watching Joe Dante and Spielberg movies. Pretty much anything from the 80s, Goonies, Gremlins, Explorers, Jurassic Park, E.T., all the Spielberg stuff. I even like 1941. I'm one of those rare ones that thinks that 1941 is a masterpiece. And I know I'm going to get scrutinized for that, but I thought 1941 was a very, very well-made movie. The timing and the pacing is just amazing. Dan Aykroyd, John Belushi, the whole cast of characters in that movie. John Candy's in it. Just the cast of characters and the way it's just the timing, the pacing. It even has Glenn Miller music in it. So it's cool. I thought that movie was really, really cool. It just, Spielberg was in his prime in the 70s and 80s. The way he moved the camera, just the fun. My favorite Indiana Jones movie is everybody's least favorite, which is Temple of Doom. I saw that in the theater. I fell in love with it. I thought it was amazing. It was so much fun. Short Round is fun. Willie is fun. They're all it's a big, fun movie. The minecart chase is amazing. That movie is just fun. And I always wanted to make movies like that, and Back to the Future, Gremlins, just wanted to make those type of movies, because those were the type of movies that you walked out of the theater going, yeah, man, that was cool. You were sitting in a room that was air conditioned for 2 hours, and then you got to walk out those doors and the bright, blinding light and stuff, and the warm sun would hit you and stuff. And you walk out going, that was a fun movie. Wrath of Khan made me feel that way. That was just walking out of the theater seeing Wrath of Khan.
To me, a perfect movie. Yeah.
Dude, that movie is so good. I walked out of Rathacon when I was a kid, when walked out of the theater when it was over, and I just wanted to be Captain Kirk. I wanted to be on the bridge of the Enterprise so bad, shooting Khan and the Reliant. Oh my God, I wanted to do that so bad.
That's what maybe I actually liked the reboot of Star Trek, but then the second one where it's basically a remake of Khan.
Yeah, yeah.
I just couldn't get into it because it's such a different. It's like I don't know.
It's a good movie. It's just kind of. It's like all right.
Reverse some of the instead of Kirk yelling
saying it,
it's Spock and
it's Spock saying it. Yeah, it's. Hey man, whatever.
Yeah. What's I was trying? Oh, No Love for You, Dr. Jones from. Which has been said to me over the years, just because of the last name Jones.
That's amazing.
Usually, people would know what I was talking.
No Time for Love.
But I was going to say, when you started to say it's everyone's least favorite, I would say it was everyone's least favorite until Crystal Skull, and then.
Oh my God. I don't even count Crystal Skull. I, to this day, still try to think of one scene that's good in that movie. Maybe the car chase. Maybe the old cemetery scene where they find the artifact or whatever. Area 51 blows. The anthill blows. Them finding the aliens and stuff. It's just like, dude. You know what? I'll take that back. The Area 51 stuff is kind of cool when they get into the building and he hides himself in a refrigerator and gets launched.
Right.
I thought that was kind of cool. But extremely, like, I don't know, man. It's just so far out there. It's like Indiana Jones would not survive half the shit he did in that movie.
I think there's a whole website it's called Nuke the Fridge, and I think that's where they got their name from. I think the review.
Oh my God,
stuff is from
that's amazing.
Refrigerator, but yeah,
that's so funny.
Yeah. I'm looking forward to a new one though.
I hope it's amazing.
Yeah,
close it off with a really, really good one, and just please don't Rise of Skywalker that movie, and just do it justice, and just end it.
Yeah. So, Asylum movies and Sharknado, to me, that's really its own genre of movie. It's like, is it horror? Is it comedy, action, whatever? I think that's really just its own genre of film.
It really is. And there is a whole underground subculture of people who love Asylum movies. They love being able to watch really bad made movies and see it for what it is. Some people will see it as, this is cinematic, this is art, or some people will just watch it as a drinking game. I, for one, don't watch those movies. I cannot stand the movies that we make over at that company. They're the most unwatchable things I've ever seen or haven't seen. But I do support all the filmmakers and everybody behind the scenes on those movies because we do take it seriously. We are treating it as if it were the big budget, blockbuster that it should be. But at the end of the day, we can't take it too serious because, we know what it is. We know that it's a movie being made in 6 days. It's not going to be a masterpiece. But, there is a following out there, and I love our fans out there because you guys are awesome. And you guys know what these movies are. They're schlocky, silly little movies that you throw on in the background, or you sit down with a group of friends and have a few drinks or smoke a little or whatever and stuff and riff on it and, yell back at the screen or just laugh at every stupid little thing. I mean, we had a premiere for this, for Aquarium of the Dead, about a week and a half ago at Anthony, the senator. We went to the senator's house. No, Anthony Ferrante did do a second unit on the show, though. He saved my ass, and we'll talk about that too. But we went to Anthony, the Senator Blackburn's house, and we had a screening in the backyard. We had a red carpet premiere there, a private event, and we were laughing at all of the silly, schlocky stuff in the movie because that's what you do. You laugh at it. It's fun. Again, they're not meant to be taken seriously, although we do take it seriously on set. And it's just, It's just fun. We just have fun making these movies.
I thought for a second maybe that's what the Asylum world calls Anthony Ferrante. He's the senator or something, but I realized that it was.
Anthony is amazing. I love him so much. He and I started working together on Sharknado 2 when we went to New York, and we developed a bond and a friendship since then and stuff. And we talk to each other at least once a week still. And when it came time to do Aquarium, they asked me. They said, "Hey, man, do you mind if we bring in somebody to do second unit stuff?" And I said, "I would love to." And they said, "Well, who could do?" I said, "There's only one person that could do second unit for one of my movies, and that's Anthony C. Ferrante. I gotta have Anthony." And Anthony was in the middle of getting ready to do another movie, but he said that he could lend a few days to help out. So the scenes with the firefighters trying to break into the facility, and we did some pickups after principal photography. About a month later, we had to go back and do more pickups. Not a month later. What am I saying? About 2 weeks later, maybe even a week. We had to go back and do some more shots because the movie was short. When you shoot a movie in 6 days, you're gonna miss a few things. So we went back, shot about 10, 15 minutes more footage, completed the film, and I couldn't have done it without Anthony. Anthony saved this movie. Or if it weren't for him, this movie would be probably like 45 minutes long.
So you met him on Sharknado 2. By the way, a cheap plug. People can go. I had Anthony Ferrante on the show a few years ago. Really fun interview.
Nice. Yeah, Anthony's awesome. Anthony's got a band. Anthony's kind of like me.
Music actually to play on the show.
Nice
stuff that they played in the movie, and then just some other stuff that was just fun. Nice.
Anthony's like me, where he's one of those filmmakers that pours his heart and soul into his movies. He does it even more so. I just show up, I direct, and I'll probably edit the film. Anthony will take the script, rewrite it overnight. I have pictures when I worked with Anthony of Anthony just falling asleep at the laptop during Sharknado in Vegas, of him just working and rewriting lines, because that's what he does. He'll stay up, he'll scout during the day, he'll make the movie during the day, and then at night he's rewriting the pages for the next day to make it work for the location or the characters or the actors or whatever it is. And he falls asleep, and then he gets up, he starts typing again, and he falls asleep, and then he wakes up again and he starts typing again. I'm like, how do you know where to leave off? How do you know where it's amazing watching that guy work. But Anthony kills it. He is a very, very hard worker. And I aspire to be more like Anthony every day, because I can't play guitar or write music or anything like that. But the passion, it's all about the passion that you put into your movies and stuff. And Anthony and I are right there, man. Right when it comes to making these movies, we put our heart and soul into both these movies all the time.
How did it affect these movies in Asylum when Sci-Fi stopped, having them on their network?
That was a little bit of a loss, because I was still an assistant director for the Asylum when that happened. And it was, we heard that the Sci-Fi Channel wanted to go in a different direction, didn't want to show schlocky things. They wanted to do more original content. So that was kind of a big blow, not only for the Asylum, but other companies around Hollywood too, that were helping making movies like that too. I do believe Sci-Fi still does like 31 Days of Halloween. Okay. And they do original movies for that. Mm-hmm. I think that's the only time, but for like Sharknado Week, they kind of stopped doing that.
People would look forward. It was a big deal, like when a new Sharknado would come on, or
it was. I remember when Sharknado. Oh boy, which one was it? Sharknado 3 or 4. I think one of those two came out. I was in Louisiana working on a movie, and I made a point to go out to the local. There was like this big parking lot viewing. Somebody had closed up a whole parking lot, brought out the big screen or whatever and stuff, and people were out in lawn chairs and just having a time. Some beer and some pizza and whatever and stuff. It was a huge group of like 100 people out in Louisiana having a Sharknado party. They watched the whole marathon throughout the entire day leading up to the new one that came out. And yeah, it was kind of like a ritual every year waiting for that new Sharknado movie. We would shoot them in February and March, and then spend, another 2 or 3 months in post. And you'd get to see it during Sharknado week in either June or July. And it was pretty cool. Going down to Comic-Con and promoting the Sharknado movies down at Comic-Con, that was a lot of fun too.
Do you have anything from Sharknado? Like, I know you have some props there from Aquarium of the Dead.
Let's see. I mean, we used to get buttons. We used to get like crew buttons. And I did the even number one. So as an assistant director, there were the alternating ADs. Esther Johnson was the original first AD on the first one, the third one, and then the fifth and the sixth one. I came in to do the second, the fourth, and I did production on the sixth one. But for every movie we did on Sharknado, we got these buttons that would have the number on it in the style of that movie or whatever. I think there was some T-shirts that Ian passed out on the third movie. I think we got one of those. I'm actually in two of them. The second one you wouldn't know because I was doubling for Andy Dick. So Andy Dick plays a cop in the second movie. And when you see his face, obviously that's Andy Dick. But when the camera flips around to get Ian's coverage, that's me. So you see a little shoulder and a little bit of hair.
How's that conversation go when they're like, "Will you be the double for Andy Dick?"
I kind of made that decision myself because I was the first AD, and Andy was having one of his days that day, so he had to go. And we were like, well, what are we going to do? We still have to shoot Ian's coverage, and Andy needs to be there. And I said, listen, if it's just going to be a shoulder and some hair or whatever, I'll do it. Just go get me his shirt, get me his little cap that he wears as the cop and stuff. I'll do it. Just let's go. We got to make this movie.
And what was the second one? I'm sorry that you were in.
The second one, I was in Sharknado 4. I was the ride operator. So when they're at the top of the stratosphere in Las Vegas, the ride is being attacked by sharks, and I run out, stick my head out to see what's going on, and then I get attacked by a shark.
Very good. So you said the premiere was a week and a half ago. So what was that like? Finally get to see the movie with people.
It was interesting because, so with these type of movies, with the budgets being so low, you can't always keep the movie moving. Mm-hmm. You have to stop and talk, because if you're just going to keep the actors moving or whatever, something has to happen. So they have to stop and hide. So there has to be like 8 pages of dialogue where there's just exposition, and dialogue. And when it's dialogue that people can't really relate to, like, you have to crush the membrane of the starfish, technical jargon. The audience just kind of goes, hey, has that pizza gotten here yet? Yeah, you kind of lose the audience sometimes when you kind of just keep doing a lot of this. But unfortunately, our budget was, we could only do like 5 action scenes, and the rest of it had to be talking. So it's interesting watching people's reaction, because I've seen it many, many times, and I kind of go, ooh, I wish I could have done that different. I wish I could have done that. Ooh, I wish I could have, edit that different or add a shot there or whatever. But the audience generally just goes for it. They put both feet in and they just kind of just go for it because they know it's just going to be a ride of a B movie that's kind of schlocky, and man, it is what it is, man. 6-day movies with a shoestring budget. Yeah,
there was a good line about don't be a speciesist. I don't know how you say it, speciesist.
Yeah. So that was DC Douglas and Brandon. The two of them improv'd most of their dialogue. I mean, there was the basic structure, there was the script there, the basic stuff. But yeah, they asked me. They said, "Hey, man, is it okay if we riff a few lines here?" And I said, "Dude, go for it. Have fun with it." There's a Sharknado line that's added in the movie that wasn't in the script. I think a guy named Skylar who cooks, that was improv. There was a lot of improv. Those guys were amazing together. The two of them, just, if I could do a whole movie with just the two of them, I would.
Are you hands-on on casting the movie?
Very much. There are, the usual politics because there are more people involved than just me. But the way it usually goes is that people submit their tapes. Right now, we're doing eco casting because of COVID, whatever and stuff. And a lot of people have been doing eco casting for many, many years now, just because it's a lot easier than just showing up. Some people prefer to show up still, which is fine. But the casting director will compile all of the best that they think that they found. So if there's like 50 auditions, they'll send me the top 10. And then I have to take those top 10 and whittle them down to the top 3 that I like. And then I submit those 3 to the partners over at the Asylum. They take a look at them. Most times, often, I usually get my picks. But there's a few characters here and there and stuff that they're just kind of like, you know what, this person would be better for this role. And why don't we move this person over to this role? And that would be better and stuff. And it's like, okay, fine, sure. It still works out. I think all 3 of the Zombies movies, the cast has been amazing. I love them all. We still talk to this day, most of them. I still talk to almost all the cast from all 3 movies. As time goes on, we fade away and we do other things and stuff. But the cast of Aquarium, we still talk every day on Instagram. We send each other stupid messages. I was talking to Ava today earlier and, just kind of bantering back and forth and stuff. I'm still putting out more content, posters and clips and whatever and stuff, just trying to keep the awareness for Aquarium of the Dead going.
So the COVID itself, you said you had to scale back the movie. How has that affected actually making a movie, especially on the independent level? Because I have a lot of friends who are independent filmmakers, and they said, a big budget movie can afford to have someone on set to, check everybody and all these things. But, this takes up the whole budget for a lot of independent movies.
Right. So, lately what they've been doing, so in Movie Land, we have a COVID compliance officer or a team of them that go around and make sure people are wearing masks, making sure people are socially distancing. They also take care of our testing. They make sure that we're getting tested regularly. Now that vaccinations have been happening, they set up those appointments for us too. On this show, we didn't have that luxury just because we had to keep our numbers down because of the facility that we were shooting at. Can't really name where we shot the movie, but the facility had some restrictions and we could only have a certain amount of people. We were only allowed to have like 15 or 20 people inside the building at any given time. So we had to limit our numbers. So we had to scale back on crew, cast. We had to combine cast members in some points. It was very different than what we're used to on movie sets. It was more like, making a film with your buddies, just running around with some cameras and stuff and just kind of just going for it and having fun and racing around and, just kind of put everything on a cart and just move to the next set. Great. Let's unload that cart. It's like this cart that was maybe 3 or 4 feet long, full of boxes of lenses and lights and camera, whatever and stuff. Let's just move to the next set. Great. Let's shoot this scene. Great. Let's move to the next set. Let's shoot this scene. We had to wear masks all the time, except for the actors who were on camera. And even that got challenging too, because at one point, the 2 teams meet up. So 4 characters meet up with 2 characters. So now there's 6 characters together. One of the restrictions that they gave us was only 4 people could be unmasked at a time. So in a group of 6 people, I had to shoot them in various ways. So you couldn't tell who was wearing a mask or who wasn't. There's even sometimes when they're running around, you can see the character of Beth, played by Erica Duke. She's holding up a binder over her face. She's like covering it up over her face, so nobody can see that she's wearing a mask, which was kind of funny. It was very interesting. We didn't have any outbreaks. Nobody got sick on our show. We were all pretty safe.
That's good. You working on anything currently?
I'm back to my day job, ADing for now. Currently in the development stages for Zombies 3. Would like to get that shot in the can, wrap that up in a nice little box set and stuff, and kind of finish off the series unless they want to continue the Aquarium of the Dead, or even do another spinoff. If they want to do another spinoff, I'll be game for that too.
How did you get involved in movies? So did you go to film school, or did you learn being an AD to direct?
Yeah. So I grew up in LA. I live in Simi Valley. I grew up out here. I went to Universal Studios every month. I loved just the process of filmmaking. When I was a kid, I got to see the making of Thriller. There was like, I think, a 1-hour documentary about the making of Thriller. There was that, and there was also, I think, an hour-long documentary on how they made Empire Strikes Back. Mark Hamill hosted that and stuff, and I thought that was cool. Those two documentaries basically opened my eyes to filmmaking and the process of special effects and just how movies are made. So I was completely just enthralled with that, fascinated with that. So I said, that's what I want to do. When I was 16, I used to carry around a video camera in my backpack, take it to school, videotape my friends. I carried a video camera in my backpack for many, many years after that, and just made little movies. I would go out with my friends and stuff, and we would shoot little movies on VHS and stuff. We would actually edit them in camera, and then we would come back home. So there wasn't any editing when we got back to the house. All we had to do was just put music in it, some sound effects, and that was it. The movie was done, already cut together. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I've always had a love for filmmaking and just the whole behind the scenes process and how movies are made. It was just a passion of mine ever since I was little.
Yeah. I just go back to, like, when we talk about the special features. I have, like I said, a lot of friends who make movies, and a lot of them learn to make movies listening to the commentary tracks and watching the specials on DVDs and Blu-rays.
Mm-hmm. I love it.
Some are better than others. No, I won't name any of the names, but
yeah. I actually fought for special features on Zombies too, because that was one of the last DVDs that they were going to make. And I was getting pushback from some of the studio heads. They're like, "Oh, nobody cares about special features anymore. They just want to watch the movie." I said, "People love special features. People love the behind the scenes. They love gag reels. They love, audio commentary." So I fought for that, and we got an audio commentary and a blooper reel on Zombies 2. Mm-hmm. Zombies 1 had a behind the scenes. I think it had an audio commentary. I could be wrong. The Code and the Zombie Stoner had an audio commentary and a behind the scenes and a gag reel and deleted scenes, like 10 minutes of deleted scenes. Yeah, that Blu-ray has everything on it.
That's very cool. Yep. I'm a big fan. So Aquarium of the Dead, it's everywhere. And where can people follow you to see what you're up to?
If you guys want to check me out, I'm on Instagram at Glenn R. Miller. You guys can check me out on Twitter at Glenn on Set, and you can find me on Facebook. I'm all over there too. That's pretty much it. I'm maybe working on getting a OnlyFans page, but I'm
excellent. Excellent. I'm looking.
Got to work out a little bit. I got to get myself into shape to do that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I've got my own. I eat pickles on it. No. But very good. I'm looking forward to that.
Good stuff, man. Thank you so much.
Yeah, this was very fun. It was very good to talk with you.
Good. Thank you. Good to see you and talk to you as well. Thank you so much, Neal.